There's a dark side to the way that many people position the gospel of Jesus Christ. In my DMs lately, I'm having loads of folks writing that they don't understand why terrible things are happening to them or the ones that they love. And a lot of them are like, hey, I accepted Jesus. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Or they're a believer. Bad stuff keeps happening to them. Can you explain to me why? And they want answers. I mean, I get it. I mean, serious stuff. Cancer, spouses abandoning them, children hurting, losing people they love, crushing financial issues. And I try to respond to as many DMs and messages as possible. I truly do. I get over 100 messages and emails a day. And adding to that, the crazy amount of comments on this app daily, I just can't give them all the attention that they deserve. But I see you, I stand with you, and I want to use this video to address an underlying issue at play here that I don't often see covered, or when I do see it covered, it's really presented all kinds of wrong. So let's address the dark side to the way many people are presented the gospel, particularly in America and other Western countries, and the effect it has on faith and judgment. So as a believer or even a non-believer, you can be what the world thinks is perfect. You don't lie, cheat, or steal. You go to church, you fast, you tithe, you give, you volunteer, you pray, you pay your taxes, you help your neighbor take out their garbage, you serve, you support social causes, you follow the rules and do everything right. But still a major calamity will come into your life. Boom! Your house is broken into, you're maimed in a car accident, you lose your job, your child gets sick, your spouse leaves. And when this happens, phrases slip out that actually reveals what's actually in our hearts. I've done everything right, God. Where were you? God, are you mad at me? Where's my hedge of protection? Didn't I pray enough? Didn't I tithe enough? Didn't I ask forgiveness enough? What did I do wrong, God? You know, where are you? Are you even real? I mean, we've all been there, but you didn't do anything wrong, and God's still there. But you thought because you were doing everything right, or what others said was right and what you were supposed to do, that God owed you something. What you're expressing is that your foundation of belief is built upon your works and what you are doing. And welcome to the fundamental issue with the way that modern Christians present the gospel. We tell folks that if they believe and if they follow the rules, then they'll be blessed with issue-free lives, or God's gonna come swoop in and solve all their problems. But there's a dark side to that messed up theology. It results in judgment. When something bad happens to ourselves or to someone we care about or anyone else, it's because they didn't work hard enough or tithe enough, or because of secret sin. The small group leader said if I just believed, everything would be okay. Or I was told by the worship leader that if I named it, I could claim my healing. Or the pastor said if I tithed, I'd receive a financial blessing. And if I just had enough faith, this miracle would happen. But when the reverse happens, and it does, it causes us to make judgments not just on ourselves, but others. Put your hand in the air if you've ever had a thought like this. Something bad happens to someone that we think has led an amazing Christian life, and we think, man, they're such a good Christian. I can't believe that happened to them. I wonder what they're hiding. Our ministry leader's spouse or child gets sick or dies, and the thought comes, I bet they have some secret sin, or if they were really doing the Lord's work, none of those terrible things would have happened to them. Or they have cancer. There must be unforgiveness in them that they haven't repented of. How about she's seeking therapy for depression, but she's a worship leader. She must have open doors in her spirit due to her pride from the attention she gets during those Sunday services. Judgment. And it's all crap. Now, I'm not bringing all of this up to condemn anyone. I'll be the first to admit I've caught myself thinking like this. It takes time to untangle from crappy brainwashing and gross indoctrination. But you're not alone. What we have done is create terrible theologies to explain things that we do not understand. And that allows us to make value judgments on God, ourselves, and others. And when we make agreement with these crap judgments, we become self-righteous. We get angry, or worse, we feel disconnected from God. The religious leaders of Jesus' day did it 2,000 years ago. We still do it now. And when you read it, there's a book that's called the Bible that refutes this crap theology 100% completely. Because the truth is, there is no dark side to the real good news of Christ, where He is our foundation, not ourselves. But if you become a Christian because someone tells you Jesus is going to figure out all of your problems for you, or if you base your understanding of the gospel on never facing difficulty because you're doing everything right in the works you do, then you're going to have a real hard time. And when the rubber meets the road and something traumatic happens, and it will, your faith will fracture, because your faith isn't based on what he's done and is doing, but it's based on what you feel is owed you due to what you think you're doing for God. And a person's walk with Christ is not about everything being perfect and issue-free. Amazing men and women of God who changed the world had terrible, terrible things happen to them. But did that make them less than? Were the prophets of old literally sawed in half because they weren't on God's side? Did Paul have a thorn in his side because he didn't do enough? Was Stephen executed because he had secret sin? Was John exiled to Patmos because he didn't tithe enough? Was Peter later crucified upside down because Jesus held something against him? How about the rest of the disciples, all of whom, with the exception of one, went on to brutal deaths? What about the martyrs, those fed to lions or burned at the stake? Did they go to their torturous deaths because of something wrong they did or because they angered God? Nope. So why do we think our own and other people's journeys and relationship with God are reflected by a lack of problems or pain? And why do we make judgments upon ourselves, others, and God when those bad things happen? You best believe there's no good fruit there, and it twists us up and it makes us bitter, hunting out the heresies in others to massage away our own self-judgment. Or worse, when these types of thoughts go through our minds, it reveals our dark belief that God is a vicious and punitive being that removes his presence when we or someone else faces calamity. And that is in direct opposition to the New Testament gospel according to Romans 8:35 through 39. God promises to never leave us or forsake us. And Jesus promises, in this world you will have trouble. But take heart, I've overcome the world. John 16:33. So let's take some pressure off. Because here are the facts. Outside of Jesus, no matter what you do of your own accord or what anyone else does out of theirs will absolutely ever, never measure up to God's standard for holiness. You can't do it. And if you're always working hard to get some sort of blessing, when something in your life falls apart, which will inevitably happen, you'll get angry at God. You'll see him as callous, vindictive, unfair, and distant. Or worse, completely silent. Don't be that guy. Because God is there to stand with you in the pain. He's there with his hand outstretched. And yes, miracles do happen, and I've seen them. But bad things happen to good people. Troubles will come, and we've got to get out of our own way and realize there is someone standing there with us. We have to let go of the false gospel and embrace the real good news that we're never left behind and we're never forsaken. We have to wash our brains in his love and forgiveness and move from there. And we have to let our judgment of ourselves and of others go. We're to judge by the fruit, not the pain. I see you. I love you. Let's get through this. There is no dark side to the real gospel, but we have to let the false gospel go.